Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you know that I took a bit of a break from being online in general because a loss required my attention. Not the loss that I talked about in my last video about grieving, but just shortly after I filmed that video, we experienced a loss of a loved one here in the Balanced Blackwood tribe, and the grieving required my attention. But I am back, and today I want to talk about the spiritual stereotype of the spiritual humble master and what confidence has to do with that. Now, I've done a video before on the difference between being confident and being cocky, as I put it, which really is the difference between being confident from a place of being humble versus being cocky from a place of ego. And I know to a lot of people that there are many spiritual teachings that can seem sort of like contradictions, like the idea of being humble and being confident. But that's actually one of my favorite things when it comes to spiritual teachings, is unraveling how the laws of polarity have woven their way into the spiritual teachings. And when it comes to the humble spiritual master, their ability to be humble actually comes from a place of being confident. And that confidence comes from a lack of attachment, which those of us who have been on a spiritual journey for a while know that this idea of lacking in attachments from a place of ego is a spiritual teaching in general. How when we can let go of our attachments, we let go of suffering. But what this naturally does when we let go of these ego attachments is it also allows what is our natural confidence to rise to the surface, because we do have a natural confidence. It's actually our ego that pushes it back down. So with this in mind, if we think about it, then that natural confidence can stay arisen within us if we don't have the ego constantly fighting it back. So, attachments. Let's get into that for a second. This applies to anything you could consider yourself attached to, pretty much in general. Because if we feel like we're attached to it, our ego is attached to it in some way. And it's our ego that wrestles with its need to defend us, especially when it comes to things like caring what other people think. That in and of itself is an attachment, being attached to what other people think, whether that be what they think of you or what you think they think or whatever it may be. This includes things like guilt and grudges and labels. I have a video on why we want to let go of our attachment to labels, because this is another one of those attachments that really can keep us from experiencing that natural humble confidence that we have within us, that we are just beating back with our ego attachments. Attachments to possessions, attachments to outcomes, attachments to expectations, attachments to things like promises to ourselves and others. All of these things, anything you can consider an attachment, anything you would categorize as yourself as attached to, if you can let go of your ego's attachment to it, it will allow your natural confidence within you, whether you realize you have it or not, it is there. If you let go of those ego attachments, it naturally rises back to the surface, where it would be without the ego's need to have us lose that confidence by feeling the need to defend. So I want to leave you with this. In order to start releasing your attachments, you do have to first notice what they are. So I want you to start noticing, where do you feel the natural need to defend things, whether that be yourself or others? Notice when you find yourself caring what other people think, and start identifying the attachments that go along with these feelings. And when you can do that, you can start releasing your attachment to these things by choosing again when it comes to what thoughts you have attached to those things, deciding why you might be attached to them, why that matters, and choosing again your thoughts behind them, your belief systems even behind them, and that's a whole nother thing that I help people do on a regular basis. But to begin with, just identifying what the attachments are is a big step in being able to release them. So start noticing. What do you find yourself being attached to? Where do you hold on to things? What do you hold on to? Recognize these attachments and you will be able to start releasing them so that your natural confidence can surface, because it will no longer have the ego wrestling it back down. Thank you guys for joining me for another video. Don't forget to check out the links in the description. May the energies you serve you well. I'll see you in the next one if I'm not seeing you one-on-one, and let's keep making our way through.